everyone, Daniel Vadnal, Fitness FAQs. Today's video, we're going to talk about calf training. Before we start the video, I want to preface by saying I am well aware that I've got small man calf syndrome. I don't have great calves by any means of the imagination. I've got very small muscle bellies and a long tendon, meaning that there's only so much potential for growth due to the genetic makeup of my origin and insertion of the muscle. I have a running joke that my girlfriend has better calves than me. She's never done a weighted calf raise in her life, but that's the way it goes. Some people are naturally gifted with having better insertions of their muscles, but at the end of the day, you can't have a sook about it. You've got what you've got. You can't change the shape of the muscle, but you definitely have the potential to increase the size of what you got. Before we get started, it's important we know the function of the calves. So the calves are made up of two muscles, the gastrocnemius and the soleus. The gastrocnemius is a plantar flexor, meaning when you point your toes towards the ground, or when you're standing, when you lift your heels up, the muscle contracts and it performs its function. Because the gastrocnemius crosses the knee as well as the ankle, it also is a weak knee flexor. To preferentially target the soleus muscle, we need to perform our calf raises with a bent knee. The soleus gets recruited in the bent knee version preferentially because in this position, we're placing the gastrocnemius in a mechanically disadvantaged position, meaning it can't contribute as much to the movement, ensuring that we can work that soleus. It's important to understand the makeup of the different muscles to understand why we're performing the exercises in the fashion that we are. To start with, the gastrocnemius is predominantly a fast twitch muscle. This means that it's going to respond to high loads performed explosively. With the soleus, on the other hand, it's referred to as a slow twitch muscle. It's predominantly utilized in a tonic fashion, meaning it's more of a postural muscle. You go into any commercial gym and I guarantee you that the majority of people are performing their calf raises incorrectly. Most people use too much weight, a really short range of motion, and worst of all, they tend to bounce their repetitions. The reason why bouncing when doing calf raises is not a good idea is because of the stretch reflex. A stretch reflex is whereby you follow a rapid eccentric contraction with an immediate concentric contraction. What happens here is this process actually stores elastic energy and then it releases this elastic energy, propelling you up into the next repetition, and this decreases muscular work. If you eliminate the stretch reflex, you don't have to use as much weight and the exercise will be much more difficult. You're going to get a better training stimulus and you're going to develop your calves. Now that we understand the anatomy of the calves, their function, their muscle fiber makeup, it'll make sense to you as to why I recommend the following set, rep, and tempo structure. To begin with, let's talk about the straight leg calf raise, predominantly working the gastrocnemius as well as the soleus. So when you're doing this, guys, I like 4 sets of 6 and a following tempo. 3-second eccentric, a 2-second pause at the bottom, coming up as explosively as you can, getting a 1-second pause at the top to get that full muscle contraction, and then repeating that for reps. To predominantly work the soleus, we need to use a bent leg calf raise. You can either use the bent leg calf raise machine at your gym. If you don't have one, just use a Smith machine and set up for the exercise as I'm showing here. As we know, the soleus is more of a postural muscle comprised of slow twitch muscle fibers, meaning it's going to respond better to higher repetitions. I recommend doing 4 sets of 10 to 12 with the following tempo. 2-second eccentric, 1-second pause at the bottom, 2-second concentric, and a 1-second pause at the top. I highly recommend doing it 2 times per week training frequency because as we know with muscular development, muscle protein synthesis is only elevated for around 48 to at most 72 hours following training. This means that by training twice a week, we can allow adequate recovery and ensure that most of the week our calves are actually growing if we're resting and eating well. Each workout, your focus is simply to progressively overload by incrementally adding weight week to week. Only add weight if you're able to stick to the set and rep range, following the tempo correctly and utilizing a full range of motion. With that being said, guys, you don't have to be an absolute drill sergeant every single rep when it comes to following tempo. Just the major takeaways are full range of motion, perform the exercise with a rough tempo that coincides with the muscle fiber type that we're working, and make sure that you're not bouncing. To sum up, guys, Fitness FAQs is all about applying a functional anatomy, a scientific approach to training, but at the same time, we're not forgetting that in order to get results, we need to be consistent, we need to train really, really hard, and we have to push ourselves. If you apply that all to your training, I guarantee you're going to get awesome results and you're going to be the best version that you can possibly be. Thanks guys for watching. Thumbs up the video to support the channel. Leave a comment below and I will see you next week Friday for another video right here on Fitness FAQs.